continue.
I like to equate the reason for high definition. If you didn't go high definition in the marketplace that we currently operate in, it would almost be like in the 1960s when a station was in black and white as opposed to color. So that's how we've approached it in terms of trying to...
You'd be a dinosaur.
Yeah. And of course manufacturers are building the sets for high definition. In terms of the assets, we currently track in my department approximately $6-7 million of assets on the books. Of course, what the market value is for that, I don't know. I'm not an accountant.
So just you have through the chair, you have $6 or $7 million worth of assets. That would be the value if you had to buy them, but that might not be the value if you were to sell them.
No, sir. The replacement value would be far greater.
Okay, yeah. What?
Right. I mean, I think if you were to include the replacement value, we'd be $35 million, and we're working with Treasury right now to identify what the assets are in the marketplace. We've had an ongoing process since April, providing them with our inventory. And they have a RFP that they just awarded for radio asset identification. Television, we've reviewed the RFP, and I believe that will be on the street within the next week or two.
So we have a better sense then.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions? Assemblyman Giblin?
I was looking at your capital spending. In your report, you mentioned that about $40,000 has been spent over the last several years.
Yes.
In capital improvements. You had made application for grants, I guess, from the Corporation of Public Broadcasting.
Yes.
And you were awarded $1.8 million.
Yes.
And our share would have been 25%?
In some cases. It fluctuates depending on what the equipment is and what the amount that the federal government is providing. But in some cases, we've left 75% federal funding on the table and had to rescind those grants that were already awarded to us.
What's our relationship with the Corporation for Public Broadcasting? If in fact they have awarded us grants and we keep turning them back, I mean, after a while, wouldn't they kind of say, like, oh, you're for real? Or
well, normally there's no prejudice when it comes to
Have we
that.
stopped making application for grants?
This is the first year in my 30 years that I have not asked for a grant because the last 18 months we've had to turn back grants and there has not been a state match available.
How will this all play out, assuming things remain status quo in terms of having the best possible equipment? Will we get into a situation where this will impact as far as our
funding, our main source of capital comes from matching grants, matching federal grants. It's safe to say that the entire public broadcasting system in New Jersey has been provided through federal matching grants. And yes, if you do not have the ability to apply for these grants and have the match for the grants, then that, in all intent and purposes, stops your construction.
These grants, are they only available to public broadcasting agencies?
They're available to a variety of people that qualify, and that's another thing. We would have to find out if we were to change to another entity, what qualifications they would need to in order to match these grants, in order to be available for these grants.
In some of the previous discussions, the issue of homeland security kind of came to the forefront. I mean, from your professional opinion, if things were to change, how would we handle that? Would we have to make any revisions?
If you turn to the second page, I talk about some of the essential services that NJN provides. That's part of our enabling legislation. And the statewide emergency alert system is a main function of New Jersey Network. We are one of the providers of this service for all stations in the state. As a regional player within this format, we take direct communications from the state police and disseminate that out through our TV and radio network to other broadcasters. This is done free of charge. We don't do this. In some cases, some commercial stations have been asked to do this for the state police, and they have turned it down. So we have stepped up to the plate and provide this service because it is part of our enabling legislation, and we wouldn't think twice about not doing it. If you look at some of the other aspects of our network, the hardening that we've done, the backup generation, power generation, we take this very seriously in order to provide the citizens of New Jersey and other broadcasters with this service.
Is there any way of putting a price tag on that as far as these services as you provided?
In terms of duplicating it?
No, just the idea of whether it's equipment or time. Is there any way of value?
I think the direct cost, and I have been asked this before, I know that we provide a man presence in our master control to answer those calls from the state police that may happen at any time. I'd say it would cost us roughly $180,000 just to make sure that we have that man presence within our master control overnight.
What is that, 24/7?
Yes, sir. Yeah. And we are the only entity that has 5 different communication links into the New Jersey OEM in order to maintain this conduit of information.
Thank you.
Any further questions for this witness? Thank you very much.
Could I just say a few more words?
Oh, sure.
I'm sorry.
We have a lot of people who want to say a few words.
I understand, and I'm from...
Brevity will be appreciated.
Okay.
Okay.
In terms of that page 2 that I talked about, you can see that there are some other secure type of communications that we offer through our digital broadcasting. We have a $1.4 million grant awarded to NJN and the state police in order to facilitate communications out to the OEMs. We have planned to also extend that to the state prosecutors' offices. And there's a couple of concerns that I have also about how we plan to keep our transmitter sites powered after December. There is no plan for keeping the lights on. And we have our 4 towers across the state, which are not only used for our programming, but they're used to help with the communications network for the state police and other federal agencies. And I think this is a concern that I have with somebody who's directly responsible for paying the electric bill, that there's no provision for funds to keep the tower lights on so they're not a hazard to the FAA. And as well as some of the commercial entities that are on our tower, like 101.5. If we don't have secured sites, how can we assure our federal, state, and private partners that we're going to be able to maintain these facilities beyond December? So I think if you look at page 5 of my remarks, you'll see some of those concerns that I have. And also licensing has been talked about. We have a licensing procedure that we just went through for one of our stations. It was a 9-month process. Now, licensing sometimes requires engineering, legal, and of course FCC review. And we have 78 licenses. So I'm hoping that within the course of the next 4 months, that if we do change to another entity, that 78 licenses could be cleared through that process within that time. And of course, I've talked about the COPS grant, which is the $1.4 million that we're sharing with the state police. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Did you have one?
I may have one. You'll be around a little bit?
Yes.
I may have one.
Senator Van Drew.
Thank you, Chairman. One question. What does 101.5 pay for that? Ballpark, do you know that?
I can get that for you. They do lease sites as well as every single mobile facility in the state. Other broadcasters in Philadelphia and New York use our towers.
So that's part of the revenues that do come in when those,
Yeah, our total revenue is about $1.2 million on the towers.
for everybody using. Do you know if that's pretty much the market rate, that we're doing well with that?
I'm not the one to answer that. I know we've reviewed our tower leases, Bruce, about market rate.
Okay, so
If you're not
Yeah.
the one to answer it.
We'll get it
that's
later.
fine.
It is
We'll get
market
later.
rate.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Assemblywoman Poe?
Thank you. Very quickly, I just want to ask a follow-up question to the $1.5 million of federal grant dollars that you referred to with respect to the COPS grant. In the event that that program is unable, or that you're unable to continue that, are we required to pay back any of those grant dollars to the federal government as a result of our having accepted them under certain conditions and had to meet certain requirements? The fact that we are obviously not in the position of continuing that, would we be required would the state be required to pay any of that back to the federal government?
We're not drawing on those funds yet. We believe that the RFP will go out in December, and we'll start drawing on the funds sometime in second quarter of next year.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I understood that it was a grant that's currently in place and that was...
It's been awarded to us.
Oh, I see. Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Next witness?